Okay, it looks like we're live. Um, Good evening, everybody. I'm Dustin Coiner from TrackDaz here in Southern California, and I'm on tonight with pro superbike racer now, Jason Aguilar. What's up, Jason?
What's up, man? That sounds pretty cool now. Actually, pro superbike
Yeah,
instead of just super sport. I kind of like the ring of that.
yeah, it's kind of neat. So, before we go into talking about your superbike stuff, I've known you for almost 10 years, right?
Yeah, it's got to be. Yeah, it's got to be at least 10 years at this point.
I don't know how it's possible that I could know you for 10 years and you're still the same height.
Yeah, well, I've grown quite a bit since then, but yeah, I've always been fairly small. I remember when I first got on the 600, I couldn't even touch the ground. It was
Yeah.
it was I was always worried if I tipped it over, I was screwed because I'd never be able to get the thing back up.
Yeah. So when I met you, the Chuckwalla race series had just kind of started, and you were racing some weird single. Like, what was that?
Yeah, so most people kind of went the direction of racing SVs after kind of coming up from the mini scene,
Yeah.
but we always kind of went a different route with everything. Like in the minis, everyone was kind of like the 150 in a GP chassis was like the thing to do, and we were like, screw that, we're gonna stay on a two-stroke. We're the only guys with a GP two-stroke, 85 bored out to a 92, and I rode the crap out of that thing, and I, won the championship on it, which was pretty impressive for being the only two-stroke out there. And then everyone else moved up to SVs, and we were kind of like, let's try to run this crazy thing. So we stuffed a CRF 450 motor in one of the RS 125 chassis, and I rode that for a couple years, and the WERA CVMA, series.
Yeah, I remember you on the grid on that stupid thing, and I was like, what the hell is that?
Yeah, the thing was it was weird for everyone to look at because they'd see the GP chassis, they're like, oh, it's a two-stroke, and then they hear a 450 coming by, they're like, what in the world is that? And everyone else is on the SVs, which are big bikes at the time. I'm
Yeah.
on this like little mini thing. It's like being on a 1000 watching a pocket bike behind you.
Right. Right. And uh you, just like you said before, following a different path, all the kids that you came up with. By the way, you came up with a lot of kids at right around the same time, and basically all the kids have stopped racing. All the other kids have stopped racing except for Michael Gilbert from that era, right?
Yeah, there was a few people before me that actually, well, I guess the only other person I could think of that was kind of in this class before me would have been Joe Roberts. And he's obviously still racing in Moto 2, doing very
Right.
well. But aside from him, like kind of in our class, it's just myself and Michael are the only guys really left.
Yeah. But like I said, following that different path, those kids went from minis to SVs, and you did that thing, and then they went from SVs to whatever, and you went to 600s. Like you didn't even
Yeah,
know the SV.
yeah, it was weird because most of the guys, they went from the SV to the 600, so it was kind of like going from like a bigger bike to the same size bike, just a bigger motor. So it was like an easy transition. And for me, it was going from this little thing to a 600. And at the time, I think when I started riding a 600, I wasn't even over 5 foot at the time.
Yeah.
I think I was like 4 foot 11 and didn't weigh anything. And that was a hard, first couple years just trying to be big enough to ride the thing.
Yeah, I mean, I remember when you switched to the 600, and I remember it was like you were like this little set of leathers and his giant white helmet or whatever, and then you were like tippy toeing on the R6 trying to hold yourself up.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
totally
I was always
that.
I was always so worried about tipping over on the grid. I think that's probably why my starts were always so bad because I was like, all right, if I could just get going, once I'm going, I'm good. But once you got to stop, I'm like, I kind of got a problem.
Nice. So, what year was it that you like? I remember you rode for this team that was actually sponsored by Will Smith. What was that 2012, 13?
That was I believe that was 2012 or 2013.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
uh,
I think it was 2012.
that's got to be pretty cool to be sponsored by Will Smith. I think that was Mookie's deal, right? The Outlaw.
Yeah, that was the whole outlaw racing program at the time. It was Mookie Wilkerson and Jason Paredes that were doing all that stuff. And Jason Paredes is still around in the paddock.
So is
Uh,
Mookie.
yeah, and then Mookie's still racing the club stuff too. But yeah, I mean, I think at the time, like, I was still so young, I didn't really quite understand everything. But yeah, now thinking back on it, like, that was kind of cool that, Will Smith and Jada Pinkett Smith at the time were, paying the tire bills every race weekend and all that stuff. So that was pretty cool. I wish I still had that deal. That would be nice.
Yeah, I remember it was kind of, because I was kind of on both sides of the aisle there, both the track day guy and I was helping out with that race club out there. And, you know, there was like some weird shenanigans that we had to like go and bill them directly. And like
Yeah.
we had to call, like her assistant would call in with the card and all that. But it was cool, man. I was like, wow, dude, you guys are sponsored by the Fresh Prince.
Yeah, it's epic. Like I said, I wish I still had that deal, because that's definitely a good deal. That's for sure.
Yeah. So then from there, you've raced basically a 600 ever since, right? I mean, you were going on 10 years on a 600 almost, right?
Yeah, something like that. It probably would have been. I guess it would have been 9.
Yeah.
So yeah, long time on a 600.
Yeah. I mean, I remember you were riding with Mike Pond's deal for a bit, and then you rode the purple bikes for a little bit.
Yeah. I rode that for a year.
Yeah. So, and then you've basically been doing your own thing, right? I mean, like, how do you do that? Like, how do you just do your own thing like that and run close to the front like you do?
Not very easily. That's for sure. I was with the Toon Racing team from 2014 to 2016. Then I started my own team in 2017. That's when we won the Super Stock 600 championship. And then 2018, I rode for the Ridiculous team. And then 2019, 2020, I ran my own program. And this year, run my own program again. And I see myself running my own program for a long time now.
Nice. Nice. Oh, unless you get the call, right?
Yeah, unless I get some type of, awesome factory call where I know it's going to be a good team and a good ride, and then I won't have to run my own team. But I've had a few offers. Even last year, I had an offer to run on, at the time, what I thought wasn't going to be a very competitive team. So I said no. It ended up actually being a very competitive team.
Really?
But you never know sometimes. And I went to a team in 2018 thinking the world of it, and it ended up not working out. So sometimes, if if the team's not dedicated to you, and if you're going to be, quote unquote, like a B rider, then it might not even be worth your time, because at that point, you're not going to get the attention you need. You're not going to get what you need out of everything. And it's just going to make you look bad at the end of the day, because at the end of the day, it's going to be the rider's fault, even if
Right.
it's not most of the time. So, I don't, a lot of people probably don't see the same way I do, it seems like. But I always kind of find it now that usually, for your best interest, if you're not going to be on a factory team, it's best just to try to do stuff yourself, because then the program's mainly just focused around you, and it's not having to worry about other stuff.
Yeah, I mean, you see it's kind of working for Kyle Wyman, right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he's doing great on it. He's Superbike podium quite a few times this year. So that's kind of the dream goal to get to.
Yeah. So following up with your different path deal, I mean, you know, you're not doing the 600 to stock 1,000 path to Superbike. You're like I hate to use this, but whatever, I'm going to use it. You're basically going straight the Christmas Story triple dog dare thing and just going straight to Superbike, right?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of weighed out what the options might be for it. I, considered going stock 1000 racing, but just looking at what's going to give myself the best exposure, my sponsors the best exposure, what I think is going to be best for the next step of my career and where I want to see myself. I felt like going to stock 1000 was maybe just not a step in the right direction for me. It just felt like going to Superbike is going to be the best move. It's the main focus of the series. It's the main focus of all the racing in the U.S. And I mean, ever since I announced, that I was going to go Superbike racing, I've had, tons of tons more press, tons of interview requests and all sorts of stuff. So it seems like just everyone in general cares a lot more about Superbike racing. So it's just the right path for me at this point.
So what made you decide to go with the R1?
Well, I've always had a great relationship with Yamaha. I mean, I've been on an R6 for forever, and I won the championship in 2017 with Yamaha. I went, got on the wall of champions and did that whole celebration thing they do.
Yeah.
And I've always worked very closely with them. Like I said, I have a great relationship with everyone there, and I wanted to keep that relationship. I didn't want to. I was trying to debate. I was like, well, I don't really want to jump on the ZX6 bandwagon that everyone else is going to. And I'm like, I don't even necessarily know if it's that much better of a bike as well compared to the R6. I still think the R6 is probably the best bike out there. And Bobier swept the floor with everyone on the R1. Gagne is doing great. Schultz is doing great. The R1 is going to be a good bike. Yamaha has a ton of development in it. They've been in the MotoAmerica racing for forever. They've been winning races and championships for forever. And then you get guys like Richard Stanboli that come in and, all of a sudden the program's even better than it's ever been before. And, talking with Yamaha and talking with Richard and talking with Chuck from Westby, the trio of support I can get from that is, a no-brainer to go with the R1. I mean, I wanted to go with the R1 regardless, but now with all that support, I would be stupid to say, let me go ride a Cowie instead.
So, I mean, we talked a few weeks ago about your program, right? Because I was at the shop and working on my own crap, and Richard's like, oh yeah, this Aguilar, I guess we're gonna help him out with this, and that, and whatever. I know your press release kind of talked about Richard and Chuck helping you. You want to share a little bit about that?
Yeah, I mean, Richard has been a huge help. He's helping me out with a ton of parts I need, advice on everything, what I need for this, what I need for that. Cause it's like, I ran a super sport, or not even just a super sport. I ran a 600 program for 3 years. And, building a 600 is fairly simple. You kind of start out with a stock bike and you get some parts here and there, and then it's, a race bike. But when it comes to a super bike, the only stock parts you're using is the motor, which obviously you modify. You have the main frame, the air box, and the throttle bodies. Like that's it. Everything else from a stock bike, take it and throw it in the trash can.
Yeah.
And just because you have all these like nice parts too, you have to make sure they all fit right, and you have to make sure they all work together, because you can go out and buy the most expensive everything, but if you can't get it to work right, then you're screwed. Like you'd be better off just on a stock bike. So all that stuff combined, Richard, Chuck, all those guys, they've done it for years. They already got it all figured out. They're at the front, they're winning podium, championship. So just having all that support and advice and everything, we're we're set. I mean, racing Superbike is very hard. Running your own program in it is hard. Everything I have to do is difficult, but all the support from those guys like just makes it so much easier for myself probably than anybody else that would try to get into it.
Well, it seems that you're going a route that might be easier than what Kyle's doing with the Ducati, right? I mean, in America, he's been basically the lone dude the last couple of years doing the Ducati thing until the Celtic guys brought over a World Superbike Ducati, right? The fact that you're going to a place where you can just call Richard and be like, "Hey, I need another whatever."
Yeah, exactly. Like that's the whole theory behind it. We can't, we can't afford to, have to develop a bike and everything as well. So just having something that's already developed and, obviously we're building the bikes ourselves and, little things here and there are going to be different, but, it's like a turnkey program almost when in comparison, like, what Kyle has to do. Like I give him props. I have no idea how he does it with the Ducati and how much more expensive Ducati parts are. I mean, I've had all the spreadsheets to run a Superbike program to build the bike. And I'm like, this is expensive to me. I don't even want to know what a Ducati would cost. So,
right.
Big props to him for all that.
Yeah. I mean, I've talked to him before, right? And it's like, wow, dude, like, how do you do it? Like, and he drives a truck and crap too, right?
Yeah. I mean, I gotta drive our rig too all the time, which isn't, it was fun the first year kind of going and sightseeing everything. And now it's just kind of a drag, but you gotta do what you gotta do to get it done. So
by the sounds of things, talking to Rich, like it sounds like your bike's going to be kind of similar state of tune to maybe the Westby bike, right? I mean, you're going to have basically all the same stuff, right?
yeah, it should be basically, more or less pretty much the exact same spec as the Westby bike. I don't think I'll have, the super trick shock that they run, but aside from that, it should basically be the exact same thing.
So you're going to have Richard make you a swing arm, or are you buying one from Suter?
No, we're gonna go the Suter route. That swing arm he has, that thing is trick, but I know it's it's not easy to make. It takes a lot of billet to make it happen. I know materials are short right now, and everyone's time trying to get ready for the race season is a lot shorter now. So I don't think they'd, even if I wanted to get that, I don't think they'd have the time or the materials. So we're just going to go the easier route with the Suter arm. It's the same thing. Like you said, the Westby guys are running. We know it works. So that's easy enough for us.
And then, obviously the biggest thing with the Superbike thing, right, is the advanced electronics. So have you, is this will be the first experience with advanced electronics on the bike, or?
Yeah, so it'll be the first time ever with a Morelli system because we've just been running the Flash Tune FTC stuff on the R6 for years.
Right.
So yeah, first time ever with a Morelli with all of these crazy electronics and everything that a Superbike has. It's gonna be pretty cool. Richard's gonna help us out with all that stuff, and he's a mastermind. He has it all down. He knows everything to a T. Like he's like the master of that stuff. So to have his support in that is epic because otherwise I'd probably find myself fairly lost most of the time. I mean, I have a good idea of how electronics works and all that stuff just from my day job, but there's always little kinks and all sorts of stuff in systems like that. So it's really epic to have a support on that.
Well, for those that don't know, what is your day job?
Yeah, so I work at Flash Tune or FTCU. Been there for like almost 5 years now, and I mean, I do everything. I don't even have a job title there. I'm just like jack of all trades. I mean, today I was fixing crimping machines and making new dies and bolting the machines in, and I do anything from tech support to emails to phone calls, orders, computer programming, design stuff.
Changing exhausts on stock R6s?
Yeah, I think we did that one time early when I was there.
Yeah.
What were we
Yeah,
doing? We were putting a Leo Vinch exhaust on, I
I
think, your bike.
I think it was a Yoshimura exhaust, but I
Or
think
yeah, that's
we
right.
both made ourselves look like retards.
Yeah, well, that was before I learned how to work on the bikes here, so I'd be a little, no guarantees, but I'd be a little better now.
No guarantees though, right?
Yeah, my crew chief Poncho has kind of forced me to be a be a mechanic on the thing as well. I mean, he always says, the best mechanic should be the rider as well, so you know what's going on. So he's taught me a ton of stuff. So I'm definitely way better off now. That's for sure.
So, with those advanced electronics that you're going to be working with, I've actually gotten to see on the other side of that with Richard with the Superbike effort, and his buddy Sven, getting all down and dirty in the squiggly line department. Um, who you're gonna have do that for you?
Well, Richard's gonna take care of the electronics and stuff for me. He's gonna give us the base maps and everything, and help us out on anything we need changed. I really I want to get the advanced electronic system. We're gonna run the Morelli so I can
Right.
be on what everyone else is running and what we know works. But I'm not going to try to get in there and get crazy creative with it and start trying a bunch of stuff. I know whatever Bobier went on, that's going to be plenty fine for me. Everyone rides a little different, so maybe I need engine braking changed here and there, but aside from that, just kind of put that in and test it out and probably just let it run for most of the places.
So you're not planning on having a guy look at your data race to race?
Oh, well, when it comes to looking at the data race to race, I mean, I'll do that myself. That's what I've always done on the
Yeah.
R6 as well.
Because
Um,
I think if I'm not mistaken, I think you'll have the ability to give yourself cuts and things depending on what track and for what you are looking for, right? Because the settings that Gagne or Heron or even Boubier last year might not work for you, right?
exactly. So, like we're gonna start with a base map, from Bobier or from Gagne, whoever, and then we'll just kind of make little changes and work from there. Whatever they have done, whatever they have figured out, it's good. It works for them. The same with the Westby guys. They're running the same system. What they have worked out, it's good and it works for them. And the only main changes I see needing is maybe a little bit of engine brake here and there, but most of the stuff you could change on the fly too. You have adjustable traction control, and you have adjustable wheelie control, adjustable engine braking. There's quite a few different options as well. So I think it all depends to how much of a range we give ourselves, because we can make +2 on TC a big number or a small number. So it just depends on all that stuff. Once it gets time to get more into it, Richard will get us the base maps, and I'll look it over with them more and get into it. He showed me the software for some of the stuff he does, and with the Morelli, and it actually looked a little simpler than what I deal with at work all the time with our software. So I was kind of surprised there. But I don't think I don't know. I mean, I can't say for sure, but everyone makes it out to be the electronics being so difficult on it. But
Yeah.
with us just starting out with something that we know works, I think we're probably going to be fine.
Right. Yeah, I mean, you're just gonna find out, right? And
Yeah, I mean, that's all we can do.
tweak it as needed, right?
Yeah.
That's cool. So, about the rest of your bike, you're obviously, like I said, it's similar to the Westby bike or even Richard's bikes, kind of, right? So you're gonna have like the big forks and the cool wheels and all that stuff, yeah.
Yep, all that good stuff. We'll have the forks, wheels, brakes, swing arm, electronics, the gas tanks, yeah, all the necessary motor work, of course, all that good trick stuff.
Who's doing your engines? Is it Poncho or?
Yeah, Poncho's gonna do all that stuff for me.
He's been around.
He knows all that stuff like the back of his hand. I mean, he built all my R6 motors, and everyone was always complaining about, the 36 cc's of the ZX6. But if you look at it, like most of the times I probably actually had the fastest trap speeds. So,
Yeah, power to weight ratio.
Yeah, it helps being smaller for sure.
Yeah, I mean, you are kind of a jockey, right?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at like Richie, he's my height, my weight probably too. He's super small like I am. So
what's your title sponsor? I know you're wearing the Lexan gear there. That's one of your title sponsors, right?
yeah, Lexan is one of my main sponsors. Riders Law is the title sponsor though, and they've helped me out, since 2017. So they've always helped me out in my own effort every single year. So those guys are awesome. Cy and Rob, I know Cy.
Yeah.
Awesome guys.
Yeah, I mean, we had a meeting with Cy last week about the new race club. So pretty good stuff. Good dude.
Yeah.
Super into the sport.
Yeah, they love it. So it's good to have, sponsors that are so enthusiastic about it too and just love motorcycles and racing. I mean, they're a motorcycle law firm, so how can you not like motorcycles,
Right. So when's the big livery reveal?
I don't know. I'm still finalizing details on all the sponsorship deals.
Okay.
So I'm hoping to have it as soon as possible, but it just depends as deals get done. There's still some stuff on the table that we're trying to work on.
Well, you know what? There's a bunch of comments on YouTube, and there was some pre-comments from Instagram. So I'm going to share some of that stuff with you.
All right.
And some of them are a little more colorful than others.
All right. Well, let's get to it.
Okay, so let's see. Let's see. Simon, I don't even want it. Ikishi wants to know what your favorite song is to listen to prior to a race.
So I actually wouldn't have a song that I listen to. Like a lot of people will kind of sit there and like listen to music to try to relax. Usually like if I'm not too busy having to run around and switch parts and pay for tires and all that stuff, like if I actually get some time to myself, I usually just like to fall asleep on the couch in the trailer and just set an alarm to make sure I wake up on time to get to the race. Like I said, a lot of people listen to music before they ride to get, I don't know, either to get relaxed or hyped up or something. And I just like to sleep. I mean, it just relaxes me. It gets all the thoughts out of your head and gets you with a clear mind, I guess.
Nice. Okay. And then this one is I am Coco89. These are Instagram names, by the way.
Okay.
Jason, have you ever been racing at a very fast speed and actually think you were going to lose control, but somehow regain control? And if so, was it just once? And if so, was it hard to overcome the fear?
I mean, you kind of feel like you're going to lose control all the time, and you just hope you're not. I mean, I guess I can remember one time more specifically, I guess, than others. It was it would have been 2014 at Mid Ohio, and it was for AMA Super Sport at the time. And that track is like a surface that you cannot ride in the rain at all. Like as soon as any type of water gets there, it turns into like an ice skating rink for some reason. And I remember going down the back straightaway, and it's like, it's got a curve in it, and you're like fifth gear tap, just lean over. And I guess a little precipitation was coming down, and I was like fifth gear tap, full tuck, leaned it over, like the rear totally like came around on me. I was like, uh-oh, this is gonna be bad. And then I somehow saved it. I don't know how fast I was going at the time, but I was just like, man, like that was a little hairy. And then I was like, all right, whatever. And I went to the next corner, and I guess it started raining heavier. So I went to the next corner and just like tiptoed it, and I just tucked the front and crashed. I was like, are you kidding me? I was like, I just saved that, and I just took the front at like 20 miles an hour. But that place, like, you can't ride in the rain, I guess. So
let's see. I don't even want to try to pronounce this person's name, but whatever. What age were you when you started racing?
I would have been 10 years old, because I'd never rode a motorcycle or anything before. I took a pocket bike lesson with a group called ST Mini GP
Yeah.
for my 10th birthday. And it was just supposed to be a lesson, like you just ride around the parking lot, like ride the thing, and then cool, like, you rode a motorcycle. But they were like, yeah, you did good enough to where if you want, you could like try to race. And I was like, I mean, I was 10 years old, so I can't remember that far back. I've had way too many concussions. But I'm sure at the time I was like, oh crap, like, okay, let's try it. And I think I got lapped like twice in a 6-lap race. I got it absolutely terrible. But I must have enjoyed it enough to keep doing it now.
Suzuka Joe wants to know if your bike's going to be in the Westby colors.
No.
By the way, that's your own fault for the press release, right?
Just for the support. No, it's not going to be Westby colors. It'll still be, kind of my classic colors with the Riders Law Aguilar Racing, blue, white, black, maybe some red. Maybe we'll throw in gray or something, splash of some pink. I don't know. We still got to figure that out.
Let's see. Champions. Wow, this guy is like champions something, whatever. He wants to know what your inspiration for racing is.
That's an easy one. I mean, it was the whole reason why I started riding. I watched Nicky Hayden win the championship in 2006, and right after that, I was like, holy crap, like that's when I took my pocket bike lesson. I'm like, that's what I want to be like when I grow up. I'm like, I want to do that. That was the coolest thing to see. And I started going to MotoGP at Laguna Seca in 2005 with my dad and grandpa when it first started again. And he won that year, and that was, at the time, that was like the best day of my life. And then he won again in 2006, and that was absolutely epic. And then he won the championship, and I'm like, all right, like, I mean, that was always, my big inspiration. I'm like, I got to try to do that.
That's cool, man. Judith Flores wants to know, what's one word that describes you?
There's
a bunch of these, dude. Like, it's your fault. I don't know. It's like your feds or
one word that describes me. Busy, I guess. Busy. I'm always busy. I'm always doing something. I usually, I'll wake up early in the morning to get to work, and I won't go to bed till like 1 o'clock because I'm busy working out or working on sponsors or race team stuff or booking travel or everything. So busy, I guess, is a good one, at least the most appropriate one.
Okay. You know what? Instead of listing their names or whatever, I mean, I'm just gonna go through these. I mean, there's a whole bunch of them. It's like, do you sing in the shower? What's your favorite color? Like, like that kind of. Describe your racing career using only movie titles.
Yeah, that's a hard one. Yeah, I saw Bev actually comment that, and when she commented that one, I was like, uh-oh, I'm screwed. I'm like, I don't know. I don't know on that one. Fast and Furious, I guess. I can't even think of one. Like, I don't know.
Wow, man. Yeah, a lot of those threw me for a loop, dude. I was like, okay, I'll ask it, like, anyway, let's see. What's one thing that you always do after a good race? Like, do you have like a ritual?
No, I don't know. I don't have a ritual for like any of that stuff. I mean, I don't like believe like like some people will be like, oh, like if I put on my left boot before my right, I'm going to go win the race. And I'm like, that's stupid. Like that has nothing to do with it. But like for a ritual, like after a good race, I don't really have anything. I mean, usually after the race, if I podiumed, I'm pissed off that I didn't get, second or first. Or if I won the race, then, I wish I would have won it by, X amount more seconds. So I don't know. I don't really have a ritual. It's just kind of like that never satisfied kind of thing, I guess. Like maybe if I go like win a MotoGP race, I'll be satisfied. But for
Well,
now,
I'd have to agree with you because I've seen some of your podium interviews and you're brutally honest. You're like, yeah, I didn't expect to be here, but
yeah, I mean, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I think my crew chief Poncho has rubbed off on me. He'll tell you how it is, regardless of if it's going to hurt your feelings or not. It's just that kind of brutally honest thing. So I think that kind of rubbed off on me.
So another question from somebody that kind of goes into this: Do you think attitude is a factor towards winning?
Hmm. That's a tough one. I don't necessarily think. Well, I mean, if you don't have like the right, I guess, like if you don't have the right mindset, maybe not necessarily attitude, but if you don't have the right mindset, then like you're not going to be able to go out there and win or ride to the best of your ability. But just like attitude wise, I don't think the attitude matters as much. Like, I mean, if like if you're gonna act like a dick, like a lot of people probably aren't gonna like you. But it doesn't, just because you act like that doesn't mean that you're gonna suck or you're gonna go win all the races. Like at the end of the day, it just comes down to your talent, really, at that point.
Right. This other guy, another one that CBR or something, I don't know, but it says, getting ready for his first race, and he says everyone talks about the craziness in turn one, and do you have a set strategy for going in turn one, or is it positional? And I'm assuming positional means based on your grid spot.
Yeah, I mean, like with that off the start, like there's no way or at least I feel like there's no way you could have a strategy off the start. Like there's so many variables and so many different things that could happen. Like for you to have a strategy for like everything, you would have to have like 50 strategies. It's like, well, what if you get the best start of your life, but you're on the last row, so you're passing people? What if the guy bogs in front of you? What if you wheelie? What if you slip the clutch too much? What if the guy next to you turns into you? It's like, it's just one of those things where it's like you just got to do it as it comes. Like if you try to think about it beforehand and plan for it beforehand, then if you're on the bike thinking about it, like you've already lost. Like you can't think about it. You just have to do it naturally. Like, racing, everything comes down to, tenths of a second. So, if you have to think about something, all of a sudden you just lost like 2 seconds. So it's just like, you just got to do it naturally.
Do you still kind of get nervous before the start of a race? I've heard a few riders, even pretty big name riders, still are like, like kind of amped up before the start of a race with nerves or whatever.
Yeah, I usually don't. At least lately, I haven't really been getting too nervous before races. Come time for like my first couple superbike races, I'm sure I'll be nervous as shit about everything. But I usually, well, I mean, it kind of depends too, like where you're gridded. Like if you're front row, and like if I feel like I'm like, okay, I'm doing really well, I can have a really good race, then I'll usually be more nervous. Or if I'm like, second, third row, and I'm kind of like, I don't think I have the pace to go with those front guys, but we'll see what happens. I might not be as nervous just from what your expectations are.
Okay. So a lot of people want to know they want to know stuff about your training program and your diet and that kind of stuff. I mean, I always give you crap when I see you like, come on, dude, let's get a road bike. So what's your deal with against road bikes? I know you're a mountain
Uh,
bike guy, right?
yeah, I mean, I did the whole road bike thing for a while when I was younger, and I don't know. A lot of people are like super into it. I mean, I know you are, but I just never found like the joy in it. I mean, just like sitting there spinning for just hours, like endlessly with nothing exciting going on except maybe like, a car that's going to hit you. Um, I just don't see the excitement in that. So, ever since, I guess it would have been 2015, I think. I've been doing mountain biking and, started out on like a hardtail and, sucked on everything. And then, eventually now doing more of like kind of the downhill enduro stuff. And I just find it so much more fun and rewarding. And I honestly, like, I mean, personally, everyone's like, okay, well, it's way more dangerous than road biking because you're doing jumps and you're doing this. And like, it is, I think they're both dangerous in a way. Cause it's like, well, if you're on a trail, you're not going to get hit by a car, but, maybe you'll get eaten by a mountain lion. So, I mean, it's got its trade offs, but it's just more fun for me. I like doing the, jumping and I mean, with the whole mountain bike thing, we do some really gnarly climbs. Like if you look at a mountain bike ride, you'll do, a 20 something mile ride with, 4 or 5,000 feet of elevation, and a road bike ride, you'll maybe do that elevation in 100 miles.
Yeah.
So it's like the grinding of doing it, doing those climbs and everything, I think just transitions better to road racing as well. Because with the road bike, you'll be on it for what, you know, 4 hours, just, either doing kind of flat or like a little bit of a climb or something. By the mountain bike, you have like all these, steep, minute long sprints that I feel like helps you out when you just need that like quick little burst of energy. I guess doing the whole mountain bike stuff is similar to intervals, maybe on a road bike, just intervals all
Right.
the time. So it's just more fun.
Is that your primary training, or do you do other stuff? You motocross or whatever, supermoto? I mean, what's
I mean, I got a supermoto bike, so I'm starting to ride that as well a little bit because I usually would never ride aside from maybe a track day or two before the race season, and then I would just ride MotoAmerica events because like you get all the other riders, they're riding all the time, they're riding supermoto, motocross, they're doing all this other stuff. But I kind of have my normal day job, so I'll maybe get to. I mean, this last year I think I did 1.5 track days before the season started and then just jumped into it. Um, so, I pretty much never ride. So I got a supermoto bike now to start trying to ride more, which I think is going to help just keep the reflexes sharp as well. And then aside from that, I just do normal, well, used to be gym work. California gyms have been shut down, at least mine, for like a year. So it's just work like in the house, mainly what I can. My trainer Ethan is really really good. He does a ton of stuff with riders, and he's got me on a pretty good program. So we're just kind of working on that the best we can, and it's hard because my time isn't always consistent. Like I'll consistently be at work from 9 to 5 ish. Like I'll always start at 9, but sometimes I'll get off at 5. Sometimes I'll get off at 7 o'clock. Like it just depends what's going on that day. So it's like you never know what time you might be done with work, and then after work I got to go to the race shop and go try to do this and that with the bike, and then I got to get home, and after dinner, all of a sudden it's 10 o'clock, and you're like, shit, I didn't even work out today. So it's hard to stay consistent on that. Most of the mountain biking I have to do on the weekends now, but once the program's up and running a little bit more self-sufficiently, and I have to do a little less effort into it, once the bike's built and everything, I think it'll be easier. Then I can start trying to jump on stuff a little bit harder. But it's hard trying to manage your time and do everything I have to do.
privateer life?
Yeah.
So CJ Walker, he was one of the people that asked about the training stuff, but he also wanted to know like what are some of your favorite tracks? And he wanted to know if you're going to run the Superbike and some club stuff.
So I mean, favorite tracks, Barber is definitely my favorite. That was, in 2017, I did the double there. I was on pole position. I think I led every session except for morning warm up. And I won the championship there. So it was like, like a dream weekend pretty much. And ever since then, I've just always had good luck there. I really like the track. I was on the podium there in our last year, I guess it was, on the 600. And I always feel like I have good pace there, and it's a beautiful track. I mean, you got to be there to really understand it. You got the museum, like you just roll into there and it just looks like a world-class facility. There's all these cool sculptures across the track, like beautiful cut grass, rolling hills. Track is always like perfect. It's just an epic place. I mean, that's definitely by far my favorite track. There's a few tracks this year that we're going to race at I haven't been to. I haven't been to Coda, and I've never been to Brainerd. So I can't really speak on those two. Maybe one of those will, take Barber's place. I kind of doubt it, but you never know. And then for club racing stuff, I'm not really too sure. I think I want to try to get out to do some of the CRA stuff, some of that new stuff you guys are doing. It makes sense, of course, with with Riders Law and everything as well, and all being SoCal based. It definitely makes sense, but we just got to see how everything plans out when we have the bike done, what testing schedules look like, and all that stuff. Because even going to do club racing or even track days is usually always pretty difficult to try to get any testing in, just because there's a bunch of riders out there and stuff, so you never really get a ton of clear laps. And on the super bike, I can imagine it's just going to be a little bit worse. So we'll see what happens.
I was thinking your favorite track's going to get really short.
Which one is that?
Barber. I think Barber's going to get really short for you.
Yeah. It's definitely going to be faster now. That's for sure. So, it better be faster. So,
you know what? What did you think of that track in Washington, the Ridge?
You know what?
Honestly, you had interesting results there.
Yeah, honestly, I actually liked the track. Like the track was cool. The facility was pretty cool. Just being up in that area, just being in a whole new area for the racing series too. It's good to, for us to expand in all these different states and everything. And the track was nice. I definitely wasn't a fan of the raised curbs that are painted just like the track surface, so you can't really see them. That's pretty much how I totaled my bike in turn one. I clipped the engine case on that curb and sent it cartwheeling, and that kind of ruined the weekend from there. I ended up on the podium in race two, but that's just kind of because everybody else crashed out in front of me. Yeah, so it was a cool track though. I think it's good that we're going back. I would just like to see the curb changed, and then maybe I don't know, maybe do something different with turn one at the start, just because that chicane, it causes a lot of pileups. I mean, you saw the
ball situation.
Yeah, you saw the missile take out Richie there. So that's and the pileup in the Superbike race. So I think they got to do something about that.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. Maybe they should send everybody into the proper turn one off the start, and then the rest of the race go through the chicane or something.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I mean, you know how like here at Auto Club, they have like a different kind of turn one than like what the normal one would be, or even at Sonoma when they used to race it. I think they need to do something like that just to make it a little bit safer.
So there's some more YouTube comments here. There's, I guess, multi-bad bass or base. He says he's been racing a 600 for a while, and he just got 1,000 for this year. And he's gonna get a few weekends to practice on it before he starts racing it. But he wants to know if you have any advice for him for jumping up to a leader bike.
Shoot, no, I'm not the right guy to ask that to. I mean, if he's already got a bike, he's a step ahead of me. We just got parts, so Yeah, I don't know. I don't really have any good advice. I guess should ask Cameron Bobier. He'd probably have a little better advice for you at the moment.
Okay, and then let's see. Can you tell us something new about? Can you tell us something about your new mechanic?
Well, yeah. So I've always had my main mechanic Manny Macias for it's been 2 years now. He was Matt Mladen's mechanic actually back in the Yosh days before, so he definitely knows what he's doing. And then just because the Superbike is so much more complicated than the 600, it made sense to add another guy on. So I added my buddy Josh Merrill. And I mean, everybody in the SoCal racing paddock here knows him. He used to work with me at Flashing for a couple years. He races CVMA, he rides SV650, and he's a great guy. He's super knowledgeable about everything. He knows a lot of electronic stuff and mechanical stuff. So I think he's going to be a really good addition to the team.
Are you gonna let him wear the pink shorts in your pit?
No, he definitely not the pink shorts he used to show up to work wearing. He's we're gonna have to get a wardrobe change for him.
Let's see. Calvin Lee wants to know about your favorite sauce.
Oh, Calvin. My favorite sauce? Barbecue, I guess. That's that's pretty much the only sauce I use. I know Calvin's probably got some weird sauces from some of his interesting dishes that he's showed me before, but I'll stick with barbecue.
So McNudson wants to know, what are your goals for the team this season? How much testing and tuning are you going to get before the start?
Well, I'd like to get as much testing as humanly possible. It all depends on when we get parts and when the bike's built. With COVID and everything, it's impossible to get parts for anything. I mean, you can't even buy a 2020 R1 from Yamaha right now. So we're just building bike from parts. And with overseas like Italy kind of going into shutdowns, that slows down getting the Morelli and some stuff. So it just kind of depends the timeline to when we get the bike built. But just my goals for the season, and I don't know, who all is going to be back racing and who's going to be on what team and all that. But just my main goal would be to try to get top 10 every single race. And I want to end the season with at least one top 5.
Wow. I mean, I was just telling my wife that. I was like, yeah, he's probably like top 7. I'm thinking, you're an aggressive dude.
Yeah, I mean, it just it depends who all is going to be in it. I mean, you got 2 factory Yamahas, basically 3 factory Yamahas with the Westby guys. You got the 2 Suzukis, you got Kyle Wyman, you'll have Zanetti or Elias, depending on whatever that deal is. I'm Cam Peterson, I'm sure will be in there. I'm sure there's some guys I'm forgetting that probably won't be happy with me now, but that's just off the top of my head.
So Calvin's also talking about something about you personally, something about big news, and I'm like, I don't know. It's on there.
What is that?
Something about do you know if it's a boy or a girl?
Oh no, Calvin's just messing with you. At least I hope so, unless there's something I don't know. But
oh, it's like that. Well, yeah. Ron Burgundy, dude, I will ask anything, right?
Well, you know what? I never answered the question about what song do I like to sing in the shower. I don't think I really sing in the shower. Do I sing in the shower? Hold on, let me ask my girlfriend. Do I sing in the shower?
No.
No, I guess I don't really sing in the shower, so I guess I'm boring like that. And what was the other one? My favorite color? Got to be Yamaha blue, I guess.
Nice. There's a guy commenting that says that the ridge got repaved in October, so there's no more weird raised curbs.
Well, that's good. Now, hopefully now I won't hit my engine case on anything and crash, destroy
And
my bike this time.
Gil Ramos wants to know what your go-to at Dairy Queen is.
Ooh, I actually I haven't been at Dairy Queen in actually a long time, but I think what is it? It was probably like a cookies and cream blizzard or like a mint chip blizzard or something. I remember one time actually that brings up a story in it would have been 2015, I believe, driving back from the barber round with Michael Gilbert and his dad. We stopped at a Dairy Queen in New Mexico, and I think we were kind of just giving the people crap on it, like just for fun, just messing around. And I think we got banned from that Dairy Queen for life. So that's a fun fact story there.
There's like a picture of you and Michael at
the
Dairy Queen that says "Do not serve."
Yeah, we're probably the only racers banned from a Dairy Queen in the U.S., so that's kind of exciting.
Oh my God! Yeah, I mean, I can remember you and Michael, and I think it was Linders, and I can't remember what the other kid's name was, but there was like 3 or 4 of you guys. Oh, you know what? It was Zader.
Oh yeah,
Zader.
Yeah.
And, I do remember you guys and your paddock shenanigans when you guys were younger. So
oh yeah, those were good times.
I am not surprised by Michael and yourself getting off from a Dairy Queen.
Yeah, those were good times when you were a kid. You couldn't get in trouble for doing any of that stuff.
Oh man, yeah, I seem to remember a certain phallic looking outline on a certain rider's trailer at a Weir round using CVMA stickers. So I don't know.
I don't remember that. I don't think it had anything to do with that one.
Conveniently.
Yeah.
I remember that.
I don't think I was around for that one.
And there may or may not have been some duct tape on another rider on a handicap pole or something, but whatever.
Too many shenanigans to remember.
Yes. Well, you know what, Jason? It's been fun talking to you, and I wish you the best of luck this season racing the Superbike. And I mean, dude, maybe give me a tow when you get on the thing, get going.
Yeah, I'll see. I mean, I've never even rode 1,000 really before, so maybe I'll be asking you for some pointers.
Right.
First go around. So
like the old
actually,
guy.
That's funny. Actually, that reminds me too. I remember the one track day I did this year at Buttonwillow. They're running Buttonwillow backwards, and I don't think I hadn't rode in months. I think that was the first time I rode since Barber the year before. So it had been like, I don't know, 6 months or something since I even rode a bike, and it was like Buttonwillow backwards. So I'm like, I don't know this track. Like, I'm not used to this. And my mechanic, I was pitting with Josh Merrill. He was there, riding as well. And he was riding all day. I think I only did a half day. So I was like, well, hey, like on the first couple of laps, just like, I'll just sit behind you and, I'll just get a tow off of you and just show me around. And I think by like turn 2, I was like, all right, like this is too slow. I got to go. So I just give my mechanic Josh a little shit here. It's
absolutely.
It's going to be a season full of that, so I'll get them warmed up.
You know what? I was going to let you go, but Elisa Aguilar asks to ask you how you feel about spiders. So.
Is that my sister? I definitely don't like spiders, man. That's I'm not as bad. When I was younger, I used to be really scared of them, but now, I'll go outside of my house all the time, and there's like black widows and stuff that are always hanging out, so I'll just, grab a flashlight and some brake cleaner and just go kill them all. So there's, I remember one time I tried, instead of just brake cleaner, I tried brake cleaner and a lighter. And I probably shouldn't be saying this because my parents are probably listening in, but I tried the brake cleaner and the lighter thing, like a flamethrower, and I lit the bushes on fire. I had a bucket of water, so at least I put it out fast, and I don't think they ever knew until now. So we'll see if that gets me in trouble or not.
You know what? I didn't expect this to be a confessional, but okay.
Yeah, that's how I feel about spiders. So.
Oh man. Oh dude, that's hilarious. All right, so what are you seeing YMCA by the Village People? What? Wow.
Is that Calvin again?
No, that's Gil.
Kill.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, you know what? Best of luck to you this season again. And you know, if there's anything I could do to help you out, I mean, I don't have any money, so there you go. Can't help you there. But I could help you with track time if you need it, you know.
Yeah. Well, hopefully I'll see you at some of the CRA stuff.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah, you know, the CRA things, like we're doing we're hosting Thursday and Friday, and on Thursday, it's a little more, it's like semi-private, so you might be able to get some track time that way and get some clean laps that way.
Okay, for sure. And is that the CRA stuff? That's at both tracks, I guess, right?
Yeah, it's going to be on both tracks, and then on the old track, it's going to do multiple configs.
Okay.
So, dude, like we're going to run that crazy configuration where it's backwards and uses the drag strip.
Oh yeah, yes. So I use that. We used that in a Moto West GP race a long time ago, and I thought that was super fun because you go all the way down to Star Mazda, and then you use the drag strip and you skip Lost Hills. So you're going in a Riverside, 6-gear tap, hit the brakes, stop you over the bump and flick it in. I think that's really one of the fun directions to run that place.
Yeah, I mean, I talked to Bryce Prince, and he was like, dude, that's one of my favorite configs.
Yeah, for sure. That way's awesome.
That dude, basically, that's in his backyard, right?
Yeah, so, it's like 20 minutes from his house or something.
If that, right? Like
if even.
He's basically a local.
Yeah, that's his home track for sure.
Yeah, but I've never run that configuration, so I do have a TrackDaz event there in April, I think, to try that out, and figure it out. So, you should come check it out.
Yeah.
If you have a Superbike by then.
Oh yeah, I better, because there's a COTA test in the month before April, so
yeah,
I better have that done before that.
I'm sure they'll figure it out.
Yeah, hopefully. We'll see.
All right, man. Well, do what you got to do. I think we're done here.
Cool.
All right, man.
All right. Thanks, Dustin.